Welcome back to MurrayMax. We have a different kind of video this time. It's from Primetime Alex Stein, the guy who calls himself a pimp on a blimp. And he's obviously an entertainer. He's a provocateur, that's for sure. And the reason why I like his videos is because you never know what you're going to get. And he kind of just doesn't care about being proper and stuff. And so it makes for some good entertainment. You know, I wouldn't want to, if I was going to pick someone to debate issues on my behalf, I wouldn't be selecting him. But if I was going to pick someone to bring to a party and I had to choose between the Charlie Kirks and things like that, he's probably going to get selected. So let's see what he has to say in this one. This was part of a larger video where he was debating and discussing a bunch of different things. I think a kid even asked for help with his engineering homework. But this mom is talking about her trans world that she's surrounded herself with. And I guess this is what Jordan Peterson would call a devouring mother. Let's take a look together because I have not seen it.
Gentleman here.
Yes.
If I could come and have a tent right next to you.
For sure.
Would that be okay?
Well, I don't know. I guess.
Well, it would be a rainbow tent.
That's fine.
And it would also be with all of my child's friends who are trans.
You have a bunch of trans kids. You like trans kids?
I raised one.
You raised a trans kid?
I raised a child who decided to follow their true heart and be who they are.
Their true heart?
Yes.
Okay, what about their other organs, like their genitals? That's they don't want to go by their true genitals?
Well, there are multiple ways that you can look at gender.
Okay, but no, there's only one way of looking at a biological sex, though. XX chromosome and XY chromosome. Do you understand science?
I'm a RN.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
So you do. So you do understand.
So I do.
So do you understand biological sex?
So have you gone through any training?
Just curious for this lady, as an RN, if someone came into the ER and they were unconscious and you had to log some information about them and you didn't know what they identified as, how would you know if you should select male or female on their chart? You might put them under Jane Doe or John Doe, but how would you know if they were a Jane Doe or a John Doe? Very interesting. I guess they must have skipped over all those anatomy classes in her schooling to become an RN.
On all of the different ways that X and Y are put together, and that there are many different dynamics to that there are some people who are born with both sets of genitalia.
There's intersex people born, yes.
Yes, you know them. Do you know any?
I do know an intersex person. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know somebody's born with genitals. Were born without the proper genitalia, but in their instance, they affirm their gender at a very young age, which that is a medical application if you're born with a genital mutation. Listen.
So my child.
Your child wasn't born with a genital.
Yes.
Were they born intersex or were they born a boy or girl?
Both.
Okay, that's not how it works. So when you're born intersex, you have genital.
This is my son.
That's your son?
Yep. No. This is my son.
So what time? When did you start your transition?
I want to say when I was really little, because I
imagine my shock to see that son of hers is the only one wearing a mask.
very young, I was a boy.
You knew you were a boy?
Yep.
Even though you had a vagina, you knew you were a boy?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, you'll never be a boy. You can, that's just...
Look, you'll never be a man.
I am a man.
But by the literal definition of it, he is a man. I mean, you can say that, you could make the argument that he's not manly, or you could make the argument that he's, you could try to insult him and say, oh, you're a beta male or whatever. It's like, but he is a man just by, like the police would say if they were looking for him, adult male, approximately blank feet tall, white hat, etc., etc.
Man, I'm just saying, you just can't. It's like you're never going to be able to impregnate a woman. It's just...
Why would I want
You can't make a baby like that.
Yeah,
Why would I want to? I don't want a kid.
Who wants a child in this environment when there are...
She says that as she's standing next to her child. Who would want to have a child in 2025? Isn't that right, son? Who would want to have one of you?
People like you.
Your guys' abuse.
Oh, really? Oh,
towards people-
I'm abusing you. I'm
Not
abusing-
just-
Please
not
put your
just
mask
people
on. I
who
don't
are
want to get
trans.
COVID. I don't want to get COVID.
You know what? He's
No,
Not
I'll
just
have a
people who are
conversation.
trans, but also people who are autistic. Also
Yeah, and
people who
what?
are neurodivergent.
We shouldn't let autistic
who
people,
are
and you're probably
sex
autistic,
workers.
and we shouldn't let autistic
who
people
are-
transition their sex because they're autistic, they're retarded, and a retarded person cannot pick their gender. You understand that? Yeah, if you, yeah.
2025, and this man uses the R word?
Yeah, retarded. Yeah, you know, you can. Other stuff can be retarded. Growth can be retarded. It's a word. Yeah, something can be retarded. Believe it or not. Yeah. And honestly, that's the thing is, you probably have an
Did you invite this gentleman?
you have an autistic daughter, and it's sick.
this
Why did you say I was autistic?
Are you autistic?
No.
I doubt that. But listen, I just think it's sick. Parents like you letting their kids and
I'm
telling
just-
them that
I
telling
think
your
it's sick
kids
that
born in the
parents
wrong
like
body.
you have children
How
like
many
you.
children do you have?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Oh, so you can't admit it.
How
I
many?
don't have any kids, but I don't need to have kids to know that you're a freak and that you're a bad mom. I mean,
how
then-
many children did your parents have?
One.
They stopped when they should have.
Good.
Yeah, and you should have stopped too. And luckily, you're not going to have any kids. Luckily, you can't procreate. Thank God.
Okay,
I mean,
we're done here.
No, no.
But you know,
You guys are sick. You
I
need to go.
asked.
You wouldn't tell an anorexic person
to.
to continue to not eat, would you? If an anorexic woman, when you're a nurse, would you tell them, a person that had a mental illness, would you tell them to continue not to eat? Or would you tell a bulimic person to continue to throw up?
No.
Okay, so why would you tell a person with gender dysphoria they're born in the wrong body? It's a mental health issue. You don't solve it by cutting off your breasts. Sorry.
It's not.
Just
So
think
what
about
about
that.
all the people with breast cancer?
Okay, well, if you have breast cancer, that's not a transition. You're not transitioning.
Are we really comparing voluntary removal of body parts to removing cancerous tumors? Like, come on. Like, just the arguments that come from the people who try to justify this. Like, if you don't have a good argument, then you're probably wrong. And if you have a good argument, make it. But comparing removing a cancerous tumor to just, you know, people can get cancer anywhere. Your cancer can go throughout your whole body. Like if someone gets, you know, cancer of the blank, whatever it might be, and you just cut out the cancer, that is totally different than letting some 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever year old remove a body part because of a feeling. Cancer isn't something that you just feel. Cancer is something that will kill you.
You're not cutting off you're cutting off your breast to save your life, not to become a boy. And I'm sorry to break it to you.
But what about all the people who
like,
do cut off their breasts because they think they have breast cancer?
in an apple
Who just randomly just feels like they have breast cancer, goes to a doctor, the doctor says, "What can I help you with?" And they go, "I feel like I have breast cancer." And the doctor goes, "I'll be right back. Let me grab my tools."
of breast cancer, it is okay to get a mastectomy, but for you to get a mastectomy to think you're a guy, look at your body shape. Your hips are like a woman. You're never going to be a guy. Your knees, you cannot physically lift as much as a guy. That's why the requirements for a woman to join the police force or the fire department is less. You do not fit the normal
We're not
requirements of a
wanting
male.
to be bodybuilders or policemen.
I'm just saying you couldn't do it. You're not a boy.
Yes,
I know.
I am happier than I have been in years, and I will be happier
Did you cry-
than you have
did you
ever
cry when they
been
cut off
in
your
your life.
breasts?
Not at all.
You didn't even cry?
We had a party.
I had a blast. Recovery was awesome. Nothing bad went wrong. There was a chance that it went wrong, and it didn't. There's always a chance that people will detransition, and there's always a chance that people are going to lean into more conservative beliefs. However, there's also a chance that people are going to learn that they are happier because they do things that they like. You are happy doing this, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
What is the point of a mask while you're by yourself if when you get closer to people and have conversations, you're going to remove it so that you can talk to people? But when you were by yourself, not talking to someone, you had your mask on. I'm sincerely asking, if somebody knows, can you put it in the comments?
It's fine. And you know, honestly, you're an adult, but this is the problem for me when it comes to the trans stuff. Do you go and change in the guys' locker room?
No,
Why not?
because I don't change anywhere. I get changed at home where I am
Would you
comfortable.
go in the guys' bathroom?
No.
Yes, occasionally.
We try to find family bathrooms.
So
I do occasionally go into the guy's restroom, but it's not a preferred thing because it's not really well kept.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is we don't want a guy to just put on a dress and be able to go in the locker room with my girlfriend. That's what I don't want, you know? And that happens.
If
that
guys
does
can-
happen. Are you going to act that naive and act
If
like that
guys
doesn't
can
happen?
sexually assault people whenever, on the street, anywhere they like, why
Yeah,
would
but-
they need to go through all the transition just to be able to do that?
Because they would
that
get
can already
arrested.
do?
They would get arrested in that instance. But if they just put on a dress and say, I'm a girl, then they can walk
They're
into the
getting
locker room.
arrested anyway.
No,
because
they're
of the
not.
bathroom
There's
laws.
definitely guys at Planet Fitness that have been caught, or
Because of the
guys,
bathroom
girls,
laws.
whatever you want to call it, going into the bathroom of a girl's locker room. And,
And they're getting arrested because people think that they are a guy, or because people think that a cis woman.
The case that he's referring to, not only was the guy not arrested, but he was actually defended by Planet Fitness, and they took a big hit in the stock market. But they actually were defending it. I think they even threatened to, or actually did, remove memberships of people who were loudly opposing it.
This has happened in the
thing.
1970s.
Do you realize do you realize how out of whack we are? Like, you're saying that you're a guy, and I hate to break it to you, you do not have a penis. That's what
I could
makes
get
you-
one.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
They can
It's
cut
called
you up. They can
phalloplasty.
slice you down.
You cannot get one. You can't just. What do you mean I can get one? You got to go out of the black market. I might use the Big Lebowski. You need a pinky toe? I can get your toe. I can get your toe, bro. This is, I mean, sure you can get an artificial whatever, you know, but it's just going to be a piece of rubbery plastic that's not an actual thing that you're trying to make it be.
And they can add.
There's also
they can add skin from your
metoidoplasty.
arm, but that's not going to be a penis. I hate to break
You're
it
only
to you.
talking about phalloplasty. There is also metoidoplasty.
I'm telling you, in your sexual satisfaction will go way down. You will not be able to have any sort of sexual pleasure.
That's why I'm not getting phalloplasty. That's why
That's what I'm saying. Good. Do not let them cut your genitals at all. You'll lose all sexual satisfaction after.
Actually, I did not lose any sensation in my chest after surgery. They even gave me an injection that they told me this may lower your sensitivity, but that was because of the surgery, because they didn't want to accidentally wake me up during surgery. I have gotten all of my sensation back in my chest even after that injection. And that's a very low chance of that happening.
Where's your dad?
Oh, my dad works at Access Clinicals.
And he's okay with this?
Yes.
Grandma, grandpa, aunts,
No.
uncles,
Yes.
I already know exactly what that family looks like. I can picture them in my mind. I know exactly what that family looks like. And I guarantee you, the dad is not a guy who you would see and go, wow, that's a masculine man. I know exactly what it's like. It looks more like a Paul Giamatti type that's not clever and good at acting.
North Dakota, they're okay with it?
Yep. Not all North Dakotans are assholes.
It's not being an asshole. Really.
Not all North Dakotans
really, truly,
are
I hate to break it to you,
exclusionary
but
bigots.
You're kind of the asshole for doing this and putting your family,
Putting my family through it. They paid for it willingly.
I know, it shows your
I
mom.
could
Your
have
mom's
paid
probably
for
sicker
this.
than you. Your mom's probably sicker
I
than
could
you.
have paid for this all myself.
You had
They
a
could have
beautiful
kicked
daughter.
me out of the house.
Think about it. You had a beautiful daughter, and you ruined your beautiful daughter.
What?
You had a beautiful daughter. Yeah.
I have beautiful
That looks
children.
just like you. I know. You guys could literally
I look
be
more like my
twins.
dad than my mom.
completely.
You
like
guys look
Dad.
a lot alike. I'm sorry
My
to break
older
it to you.
brother looks more like my
I'm
mom
sorry to
than I
break it to
do.
you guys. Y'all look alike, okay?
Yeah,
You could have had
it's
a
'cause we're
beautiful
family.
daughter. You could have had a spitting image of you. She could have been in a marriage, could have had kids, could have made you a beautiful grandmother, and none of that's going to happen. And instead, you laugh about cutting off your child's breast.
No, it wasn't.
Because they have
It was
mental
a celebration.
Yeah.
You guys are more...
As a father, I watch this parent cheer on and laugh, and it's just I'll never be able to understand it. If you raise your kids with principles and values, they will grow up happy and healthy, and they won't ever get caught up in this bullshit. But it's like there's so many parents out there who are so influenced by the outside forces, the media, the social trends and things like that, and they don't really have like a basis of principles for the most part if they're doing this to their kids. Because people that have a rational mind, they see this kind of stuff and they think, why would you alter your child? From the second that I saw each of my children born, I knew from that moment that they were going to be authentically themselves. And what I mean by that is when I saw them, I knew that child was so important, and I had an obligation as a father to raise them in the best way possible. And the best way possible to raise them was in a way that's going to bring the most fruitful, rewarding life. And the life that this mother has now facilitated for their child is not going to bring anything except for confusion, depression, just a bunch of negativity. Outside of the fact that just socially you're kind of outcasted. You know, you might find you're a group of people that are going to pat you on the back and say you're brave, but it's just, it's such a small percentage of the population. The life of a child in that family with that mother and that father and those grandparents, apparently, they got an uphill battle. That's for sure.
And welcome to come tonight.
Okay, we might be here.
Bring the whole Rainbow Coalition.
I might.
Bring every gay person in North Dakota here and trans. Are you gay?
Oh, the room would be overflowing.
Wait. Are you gay? Are you into,
You don't need to know
are you
my
into guys or girls?
sexuality. No. You don't need to know our sexuality.
Yeah, because it's too confusing. You don't even know your own sexuality.
I'm serious.
So you like
Women.
Okay.
Okay. Wait, so you have a vagina and you like women, so that makes you a gay lesbian. I'm sorry.
No,
That's what you
it makes me a straight man.
Okay. And that's the end of the video. This is, I mean, when I was younger, this kind of stuff, if you saw this on a video, it would be someone playing a prank. The speed at which this stuff has just grown in popularity is crazy. And to see the mother there laughing and cheering it on is the wildest part about it, you know, because you have an obligation to your children to guide them and to instill in them, you know, principles and values that are supposed to be healthy and, you know, promoting a good life. Anyways, I'm trying to be very careful about what I say. I'm still kind of new to this stuff, and I don't know what YouTube is going to flag or take down or anything. So sometimes it's better to say less, but I will say that I am not surprised that the person in question is wearing a shirt that says my anxiety has anxiety. They're wearing a mask, and it's just it's almost like all the thing. I'm assuming that they're probably also vaccinated and triple boosted, and they feel this way on the stance of abortion, and they feel this way on the stance of immigration. They're just all the things. They're all the things. They always are. It's like you check that box to subscribe to all, and it's everything on the left. It's just subscribe all on the left. It's crazy. But anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. Trying not to get flagged for this video by what I say, but, you know, hopefully I don't. Have a good one.